On a more positive note, here's me touching on a few interesting non-magic bullet Outis burn IDs. Some of them, and not all of them. Go make your own videos if you're mad a certain ID didn't make the cut.
Okay. So far, my whole life can be split into two parts. Part where I think that burn is just an average element like water, electricity or air, which are all basically do the same stuff in games, and the part where I became an obsessed pyromaniac and play with fire in every game that has it. Dark Souls 3 Pyro build, Elden Ring Giant's Flame build, Expedition 33 Fire build through Mael. In Silksong I grind that Flintstone and do brr brr brr, honey pop.
Since you're here, you can answer this for me. You ever stolen anything?
No, I think that stealing is wrong and illegal.
Ugh, yay!
You know, if this game had fire build, I would use it on this hoe. Guys, don't steal, don't do drugs, listen to your mom and work out. And if you ever meet such a woman, run away, I'll hold her back. Oh yes, burn. This shift in my life happened because of one specific character, and to be precise, it happened because of Xiao, who is to this day remains my favorite Project Moon character. I don't want to spoil, but those who knows. So thanks to Xiao, my favorite team in Limbus is Burn. And before Season 7 release, which will definitely be Burn focused, because of that daughter burning to death in the source book stuff, I want to make an overview of everything that has Burn to sum up its state before it becomes the strongest status effect in the game. At least I hope it will. And I want to start with explanation of what exactly Burn does. It does true damage based on its potency at the end of the turn. Then count goes down by 1. That's all. You can argue with me, but I think that Burn as a standalone status is one of the worst in the game. All major damaging status effects can be triggered multiple times per turn, while Burn triggers only once. And with cap of 99, maximum damage it can deal is, 99. Also, because of how it deals damage, count is not that important like, for example, in Rapture. If you have 5 count, it will last for 5 turns. That's a pretty long time, especially in something like Mirror Dungeons, where most of the fights are over in between 2 or 4 turns. So yes, as a standalone status, it's not that great and also boring. So let's talk about Burn Identities and EGOs that makes it, less boring. In total we have 20 identities and 18 egos that inflict burn in some ways. I will review all of them to not repeat my Heisho video mistake where I forgot about Dimensional Shredder and Ebony Stem, and every day someone reminds me of it in the comments. I was wrong, Wusan is great, guys, thanks for feedback. Some of burn identities are objectively better than the others, so I'll be reviewing them from not that important to the ones who are required for a good burn team. At least I think so. Starting from, as I call them, random status appliers. Ring identities, suddenly one day, and 2 holidays. While ring IDs are not by all means bad IDs, they are not good at burn. What they do is just inflict one of these statuses with their coin effects, and saying that they are unreliable is an understatement. While they do benefit from burn due to their synergies with debuffs, burn does not benefit from them, and besides they have far better burn identities to replace them. Suddenly one day Gregor works the same way, and holiday egos, while holiday Outis is Ras and it's a pretty good SP healing ego that can sometimes inflict burn, it's massively overshadowed by her another burn here ego, which I will discuss later. And while it may seem that Holiday Heathcliff falls in the same category, it's not, and we will also come back to it later. Next one is Captain Ishmael. She inflicts 1 burn potency on her skill 2 and 1 burn count on her skill 3. She also has overheated gas harpoon, which inflicts 1 burn for every hit for 1 turn after she killed an enemy. But it comes from Pride Resonance passive, and while Pride is not a thing burn identities have a problem with, it's not that easy to activate, and furthermore, kill an enemy on the turn, it has been activated. Besides, she has Liu identity, like, come on. These 3 are next, and they are just power crept. There is no nice way to say this, they just have a better burn identities. The only skill that is good for burn in Sinclair's kit is skill 2, while Gregor is a great potency applier and can inflict 8 potency with his skill 3, his numbers are shit and he's just boring compared to Firefist, who can... I have literally nothing to say about Meursault besides the fact that this is a pretty good support passive, but Meursault has some identity, so he's not sitting in the backup. On the other hand, Liu Honglu doesn't have a direct identity that power creeps him in burn specifically, and despite the fact that burn count is not that important, his support passive is still pretty good. But I have one contender to replace him with. Now, with these bench warmers out of the way, let's talk about viable burn IDs for each scener. Starting from Liu Ryoshu, which will be soon replaced by best burn ID in the game, because she will receive an amazing bad-end burn identity, please. Well, she is also pretty bad, but it's the only choice for a burn Ryoshu ID for now, so yeah. Her EGOs, on the other hand, are pretty good. Forest of Flames inflicts 6 burn and 1 fragile for this and next turn, which is incredible for a 4-cost Zine level EGO. And while Force Match Flame doesn't inflict as much burn as I want to itself, it has an amazing passive which deals 4 potency on every hit with her force skills. And yes, this is Liu Ryoshu that just dealt 19 potency with 1 skill. But even with that, I would not recommend to put her in your team. Liu Ishmael is the first ID that you can actually consider putting in your burn team, but only if you don't have better choices. Her skill 2 can roll pretty high, and she can deal some damage with her skill 3. Her potency infliction is far from good, but she provides decent count. As for her EGOs, Capote can be good if you use it before your big attack turn, due to rush damage up she gives to all allies, and Ardor Blossom can inflict a decent amount of potency with big resonance. Its passive gives Ishmael more burn infliction, so it's also great. But as I said, she is good, but you have better choices. Liu Rodion is the idea that I personally put in my team only because she has Indican's Trial Ego. Her skills inflict an okay amount of burn and burn count, but I want to highlight the last coin on her skill 3. Inflict Rush affinity damage equal to burn potency on target, max 30, reduce target's burn count by 2. Let me repeat if you didn't hear what I said. Max 30. As I said before, burn itself deals damage only 1 time per turn, while other statuses like Rapture, Bleed, Sinking, Tremor, Reverb can be triggered multiple times and deal up to 99 damage each time. So when projectmoon decided to finally give an ability to proc burn outside of turn end, not only it consumes 2 burn count, but it deals only 30 damage at max. Other statuses can deal 188 damage for the same count. This is just bad, I don't know. Rodion has Force Match Flame, which inflicts Cerebrous Fragility to several enemies on the next turn, and it can help with setting up your nuke turn. Indican's Trial is just a good burn ego. It can get up to 7 attack weight and heal 20% health to 3 allies. It inflicts 8 burn, which is a lot if you consider the fact that she can hit 7 enemies, but the most important thing is Searing Birdcage, which increases rush resistance of the main target she attacked. I know this is a bit counterintuitive, but the bigger the number, the bigger the damage. So increasing rush resistance is actually good. Awakened version can give up to 3 of this thing, and Corrosion can give 5. The main difference being that Corrosion inflicts it on the same turn, while Awakening on the next one. So if your Rodion is fast enough, you can use Corrosion. And now I don't really know in what order to rank them, because they are all pretty good and they have some gimmicks, so let's just review them by scener order so that it will be easier for me. Starting from 30 max, Liu Yisang. Not only he is a good burn unit and aura farmer, but he is also a Sigma who does not concern himself with women and reads a very interesting books. All of his skills can inflict 4 burn potency, which is not much but consistent. The main thing why Liu Yisang is good is his SP healing. He can heal up to 15 SP to 2 allies after using skill 3, and he can heal the same amount with his passive. Considering the fact that burn identities somehow have a lot of suicidal and insane people, this is amazing passive, and Liu Sang must be one of the first picks for your burn team. His burn ego Force Match Flame is notorious for how bad it is, and while in Library of Ruina it can do this, in Limbus it has a min roll of 12, and that's one of the egos that Kim Ji-hoon mentioned while talking about Red Spin 5, so I hope that it will fix this thing, because 10 burn potency on head skid to 5 enemies is not bad at all, everything else is bad. And I can add that Sunshower is also a pretty good ego to use on him, because it heals SP with its passive, so you can heal even more. Next one is LCE ego Ardor Blossom Star Faust. She is one of those IDs who really wants to get killed, and while in other games I would be strongly against someone's death and self-harm, because it's a very wrong thing to do, in Limbus Company, Faust gets ABS Max Attunement Degraded Corrosion when she's on fire enough, so we need to burn this woman like she's a medieval witch. So, as you probably understood, the main gimmick with this Faust is self-burn. First of all, she can't be staggered or die due to burn damage, which is important unlike with some cock. Yeah, I still don't get why they give him this passive. First skill gives her up to 11 potency and can inflict up to 5 potency if she's fried enough. But she gives this self-burn without count, so it's a not good skill to start a fight with. A much better option will be her second skill, which gives her 4 count, and with it she can start ramping up her potency. Her third skill gives her 7 potency and 1 count. If she is at low HP, she gains more coin power. But of course we don't want this skill 3, we want the one that blows her up. So if she has 30 burn potency, she uses her empowered skill 3, which at max conditionals rolls 28, has 5 attack weight, and I'm gonna be straight, this is pretty great. Her passive automatically gives her up to 30 burn if she doesn't have it while under 20% HP, she receives up to 5 offense level up based on her fire, and if she dies from her third skill, she inflicts up to 8 burn potency to all enemies, gives ego resources, and gives 3 offense level up to the sinner that will replace her. Now, she also has a less powerful effect if she dies not from empowered skill 3, but if that happens, I think you can just delete Limbus Company from your device and play something easier, like Stardew Valley. Large milk. As for her egos, well, to put it in the nicest way possible, 9-2 sucks Heisho Pak Vubranch Adept Yisang's balls. Not only it doesn't synergizes with Ardor Blossom Faust because she doesn't have last, therefore the passive is useless, it actively sabotages burn by turning up to 20 burn potency into 10 defense level down. Which is great, don't get me wrong, it's like 3 fragile, but first of all it happens on the same turn and it takes away 20 burn potency, which is like not a super big number, but it's definitely not something I would apart from willingly. And Command Meltdown, which is a collab ego, and well, to put it in the nicest way possible, it's not that burn that I wanted it to be. The word burn appears 3 times on Awakening and Corrosion combined. In Arknights, this shit does true damage with its third ability, and Rupture with Burn also do true damage, but I think that Rupture alone would suffice. So yeah, let's move on. Singdon is a boys ID, and I'd like to start with her passive for better understanding. She has similar to Sing Meursault effect called Nerve Strike. If she is repeatedly attacking one enemy or one part, this effect's stack will go up. If she hits another enemy or part, this effect expires and you need to start from beginning. At max, this effect gives her 1 base and clash power. Her passive allows her to deal more damage with critical hits if enemy is fried enough, and it gives haste, because she is a Sting identity, and all her skills gain coin power if she is faster than an enemy. Viscerant Flame Palm is a good 22 max rolling skill, and I want to focus your attention on the last coin, which gives target up to 8 defense level down with max conditionals. In other words, this skill does almost exactly the same as 9-2, but it doesn't take away 20 burn potency, which is phenomenal. Also, as a sync identity which are focused on haste, she's consistently rolling high speed, so the fact that she inflicts defense level down on the same turn doesn't matter that much. Skill 3 can deal a lot of damage with its last coin and also apply some defense level down, but it's all I can say about it. As you can see, Singdon is not applying that much burn with her skills, but she compensates it with high damage and defense level downs. Her only burn ego is Lifetime Stew, and honestly, because of its passive, I don't think you should ever use it. While Lust is a resource that is used in a lot of burn egos, it's required in a small numbers like 1 or 2, unless it's 9-2. And Lust is second or third most common affinity burn identities have. It also inflicts only burn count, why would you need that? Yeah, so fuck you, Stew. Next one is whoa, no big man, I'm leaving you for the end, as well as Magic Bullet Outis. That means that the next one is Honglu, but unfortunately he doesn't have another burn ID, so we'll just skip. Oh no, it's you again. Leave me alone. Okay, so I'll review these 3 identities at once, because first of all, I already reviewed them in my previous video, and secondly, I think that if I'll talk about he shows for 5 more minutes, I'll collapse on the floor and die. So let's do it quickly. You may ask, why the hell am I bringing up Lord of Hongyan Honglu if he doesn't even have burn in his kit? Well, there is this guy called Sinclair, and while he still sucks, he has one redeeming factor, and it's the buff that he gives to Lord Honglu. When using a skill to inflict Rupture potency or count, inflict 1 burn. So now everything in Honglu's kit, except first skill 3, applies burn, which is not a lot by any means, and putting these 3 in your burn team is not an optimal way of playing burn, but it's one of the ways, and I like variety when choosing my builds. You can also pull your cogs in and out of your backline, and they would just spam with their skill 3s every turn. Is what I said before recording footage for this technique, because for some reason my IDs kept coming in normal order. Please tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not playing them that often, but his defense basically picks your least healthy Heisho, then he uses his skill 1 and retreats. And there is this text. The Heisho pack identity who retreated due to this effect will be placed earlier in the return line than non-Heisho identities, which in my understanding means that Heathcliff should be first in line after I retreated him, but for some reason I got Ishmael. Because of that, my grand plan to cycle between Sinclair and Heathcliff failed. I know that one Heisho can only use its skill 3 2 times like this, but it's still set. I talked a lot about Heathcliff in my previous video, so I'll just say that he is a very strong burn unit that becomes one of the best burn potency appliers with Holiday's passive, and you can, without a doubt, put him in your normal burn teams. The only thing is that you'll need 5 Gluttony to activate his passive, which can be quite long if you don't have any other units that generate Gluttony beside him. As for Sinclair, I only recommend to put him in teams with Honglu, because compared to his other burn identities, he is not that good in the nicest way possible. This passive just won't work because you don't have Rupture, and Blood Flame doesn't really make him that much better in terms of burn. Now for Sinclair's other burn identities, which he has 4 in total, by the way. Down Office Sinclair is an ID people have split opinions on. On one side, he is a strong ego-wielding unit that has a 24 max rolling skill 1, attack weight 3 skill 2 that deals a lot of burn count, and a nuke skill 3 that can inflict a lot of burn potency and can roll pretty high with a lot of damage. And on the other side, he is very unreliable due to his SP drain mechanic, and his skill 1 has a min roll of 3. So let's talk about him in detail, starting from his ego passive. When he is at 40 plus SP, he consumes 20 to switch to his ego mod. It grants him volatile passion passive that gives him more power and burn application. It also drains his SP based on how many turns he spent in ego form. At 0 SP he switches to baby form, and you need to start ramping his SP again. This passive is his bread and butter, and you need to maintain his SP levels as high as possible for a good payoff. We have a few ways to raise his SP. first of which is his unique sanity. It basically gives him more SP from every source than usual. Then we have Liu Sang with his amazing SP heal, or if you are broke, LCB Sang also heals SP, but obviously not as good. And we have some SP healing EGOs which are His passive that you need to activate is also amazing. He just deals even more burn and receives up to 3 coin power based on his SP. So once again, you need a lot of SP. His skill 1 simultaneously is one of the best and one of the worst skill 1s in the game. It's a 1 coin skill that has a min roll of 3. And while base power 3 is not uncommon for skills 1, they usually have more than 1 coin which gives them another chance to roll higher. And with Sinclair, you will often find yourself in situations when he has somewhere between 15 or 30 sanity and his only skills option would be skills 1. I think I don't need to tell you what 75% chance of rolling heads really means in Limbus. And even worse, if you go out of your ego state, which means that you're at 0 SP or lower, and you only have skill 1s, you will either rely on 50/50s or on other SP healing sources, which will be more safe, but you will lose time. Now let's talk about its positive side. First of all, it's a Gloom skill, which is the most lacking resource in Burn teams, because, Gloom represents water and Burn is Burn and water doesn't match well with Burn, so yeah. You gain 1 base power from Volatile Passion, and if you have full SP with active passive, its coin power turns from 7 to 10. So if you make a heads hit, you will reuse this coin, meaning that this skill max roll at 24, which is incredible for a skill 1. But once again, it's not as consistent as I want it to be. His skill 2 is just great. It has a max roll of 24 and 3 attack weight with max conditionals. It applies 1 burn count with each coin, meaning that in total every enemy can receive up to 3 burn potency and 7? I thought it will be 3 and 6. I guess his first coin applies burn potency first, and potency cannot exist without count, so he just creates count from thin air and then applies the rest. Cool. It also consumes 5 SP after attack, but that's not that scary compared to his other SP drainers. He has 2 skill 3s, one for each mod. First one is Stigmatize with max roll of 22. It can deal up to 8 burn potency, it heals more SP when you win a clash with it, and loses SP if you lose a clash with it. You know, so far, all of skills were pretty simple in terms of text. I hope that this will remain... Holy shit. Okay, I'm joking, after he shows, this skill is only moderately big for me. Blazing Strike is a 1 coin nuke skill that can roll up to 40 and deal a lot of damage based on burn and Rush resonance. It also heals SP if you win a clash, but punishment for losing is much more severe, so don't lose. In terms of burn, I don't really want to do the math, but the main target will at least receive 12 burn potency. His defense is also pretty nice, but aside from getting last, which burn teams has a lot of, I don't really see where you can use it. Oh, now this is a big skill 3. Wait, why does it has more text than Meursault's 5 coin skill? Anyway, this identity combines Tremor and Burn. Bremor. Let's start with his skills. Skill 1 has a 15 max roll, inflicts 1 tremor and tremor count. Okay. Skill 2 has a max roll of 22, 2 tremor potency and 1 count, and 2 burn count if target has red tremor, and it also bursts tremor. Okay. Skill 3, I will just show all it does on screen because I don't want to say Scorch Propellant Ammo 10 times. The most important thing it does is turns Tremor into Tremor Scorch, which deals rush damage based on Tremor and Burn potency divided by 2 on Tremor Burst. Basically, it's a worse version than Tremor Reverb. And with this undeniably humongous levels of Burn and Tremor application, this Sinclair can go and fuck off. What? You expected me to say something clever? No, he's just shit and burn, and the sole purpose of this identity existence is to support Capo Meursault with ammo. While not having Scorch Propellant ammo, the coins don't inflict burn. Wow! The only skill that really suffers from it is his skill 3, which appears every 6 turn, and you need to use 5 skill trees to spend all of his ammo, 3 if he gives ammo to Meursault. So you can just spam it and don't be afraid. Oh wait, you can't. What the fuck do you mean good status application? You literally wrote that both of his skills apply a small amount of tremor. If you apply good numbers only on one skill out of 6, that makes you an unreliable identity. Phew. On a positive side, he has a good numbers and he can deal pretty high amounts of damage, especially if you have bursted Tremor Scorch with his skill 3, but with all respect to Kim Ji-hoon and his decision to make only 3-star identities, I can say that this guy is just not a 3-star identity for me. He's just a 2-star that has a 3-star logo above it. You can just look at his and Meursault's trailer and everything will be obvious. He does have his uses, like giving Meursault his ammo and turning Tremor into Tremor Scorch. He's also a hybrid of 2 statuses, so when we will receive other Samp IDs we can make a good Bremor team in Mirror Dungeon. Yeah, let's move on to his Burn EGOs. His 9-2 is far better than Faust's, and you can even sometimes increase its attack weight, but then you look at its passive and understand that this ego was made for Encore Sinclair. He also has another Burn ego and Firefist Gregor is just an incredible burn identity. He doesn't necessarily inflict the biggest amounts of burn, but he's still a great addition to your team. He starts an encounter with 100 fuel and spends it with his skills. At 50 or less stacks, his fuel becomes overheated and he receives bonuses from it. The passive that he needs to activate, I'm the only survivor, sounds cool and is pretty simple. The more fuel you consume, the more damage you deal. If the targets are bloodfiends or they have a lot of burn, he deals even more damage. Now for his skills. They have the exact same base numbers as Samp Sinclair, and honestly, they are actually pretty similar. The only difference being that Gregor inflicts more burn and he's just cooler overall. He can do and he just has more aura. On the other hand, Sinclair shoots himself when he fails the mission. What a pussy. Flamethrower 2 coin skill 1 with max roll of 15. Can inflict 2 burn potency and count, which for a first skill is actually good. Second skill has a max roll of 20 and every coin that consumed fuel deals more damage, and even more damage if he consumed overheated fuel. Skill 3, which is named Firefist, has a max roll of 26 and it can deal 100% more damage if he consumed 25 overheated fuel, and his last coin can deal another 100% more damage, so in total 200% more damage. It's a lot and it's very easy to activate. In addition, if he consumed fuel, he deals 4 burn potency and 2 count and receives 2 blunt damage up, which is just free. You may ask, but what if I drank all my fuel and now I can't feel my Gregor? Don't worry, his clashable counter returns his 100 fuel at combat start, so you can continue firefisting your enemies. In conclusion, I like this Gregor. I like how he screams when using skill 3, and I like the lore behind this identity. It's not the strongest or the most important burn ID in the game, but he is definitely one of the best. Aside from Suddenly One Day, Gregor has another burn inflicting ego, and okay, it's not that bad, he actually inflicts 4 burn and tremor if he reuses all coins, but that's still not a lot. I'm pretty sure projectmoon gave it these 2 statuses only for these 2 rocks to synergize with it in Mirror Dungeons. So yeah, its main purpose is not burn infliction, but it doesn't automatically makes it a bad ego for burn teams. It's fairly cheap, provides good buffs, and deals a lot of damage every so often. Besides, his other WoW ego is Garden of Thorns, which is if you have nothing better to spend 2 gloom on, then go ahead. And now we have these 2, and as I look at my script I see that I over-reviewed them, I think, but let's do it. Starting with Capo Meursault. You can say that he technically has 3 phases. He starts an encounter in the first one, obviously. He transitions into the second one when he either uses his defense skill, spends all of his Tiger Mark rounds, or when he is staggered. In second phase, he recovers from stagger, switches to Savage Tiger Mark rounds, and gains Unrelenting Spirit or Unrelenting Spirit Shin, if he spends 8+ bullets in total. They both give him min and max speed, more damage based on speed difference, and Meursault inflicts more tremor potency and count. Obviously, Unrelenting Spirit Shin is better in all of this. He enters third phase after spending all of his ammo, but before that, the base skill that spends his final ammo will receive +2 attack weight. After that, he gains overheat, which gives all that based on how much ammo he spent in total. And he doesn't inflict burn with his coins anymore. Amazing, that was the passive that he doesn't need to activate. He has another one. When he has Tiger Mark rounds, coins on his third skill become unbreakable and coins that spend ammo gain 1 power and deal 10% more damage. When he has Savage Tiger Marks, all of his base skill coins become unbreakable, and coins that spend ammo gain 2 power, deal 30% more damage, and inflict +2 burn potency and count. When he is out of rounds, only the coins that spend ammo remain unbreakable. And this is his support passive, which reminds me that ammo is also kinda a status. I'm sure that this is a lot of information, and you probably already forgot half of what I've said if you are new to this ID. So let me give you a shorter version. If you're in a long fight, don't use his defense skill and don't get staggered. You want to spend all of his ammo for maximum potential. When Meursault has 3 or less ammo, try to use his skill 3 for a big 3 attack weight 5 coin skill. If you're in a short battle, use defense skill first turn, and that's all. Now for his skills. I'm Burning Up is a 2 coin clashable counter with max roll of 15, and if he spent all of his ammo, it clashes at 17, which is great because his attack skills lose clash power when he's overheated, so this is a viable option to use. First coin inflicts 1 tremor, and second 1 tremor count, with a cap of 2 per turn. You may ask why they gave him such restrictions, and remember how Unrelenting Spirit Shin can give him +2 tremor application. So in late game, this defense skill inflicts 3 tremor potency and count, and this is a lot, especially for a skill that you can use every turn. Skill 1 /blast is a 2 coin first skill and has max roll of 17. Can inflict up to 5 tremor and 4 burn potency. That's a lot, but remember that these numbers come only in second part and after you spend 8 ammo. Second skill, /blast, is a 3 coin skill with max roll of 24. Inflicts all this and bursts an enemy that has enough count. I like that the skill is literally skill 1, but he just added 1 more coin and named it / instead of /. Very creative. Skill 3 is when things obviously get more interesting. He has 2 of them. First one is for first and third phase, and second is for second phase. First skill has a max roll of 26, inflicts up to 5 tremor potency and count, and 3 burn potency and count, because he can't use the skill while he has savage rounds. The last coin deals more damage, triggers additional tremor burst if he used an ammo, and transforms tremor into tremor scorch. It's not a bad skill by any means, but his second skill 3 has 5 coins and can reach 3 attack weight. Thankfully, it does almost everything that skill 1 does, with only difference that he inflicts 5 burn potency and count, and his last coin doesn't get 50% more damage. Yeah, and it also has a max roll of 34, which probably is the highest possible raw damage an identity can deal, with 5 coins, like, that's a lot of raw damage. And that's basically all his kit has to offer. But I'm not done talking about him. After all, some Sinclair is the identity that was made to give him his ammo. So let's talk about it. First of all, you'll need to make a 3 or 4 Pride Resonance, depending on if Sinclair is in your team. After that, if he is in team, he gives Meursault 6 ammo, and if he is in backup, he gives 5. The best thing you can do with it is to waste all of Meursault's Savage Tiger Mark rounds, meaning that he will do his 3 attack weight skill, and after he enters overheat phase, you give him more ammo so he can do 3 attack weight skill again. So in total he now has not 8 but 13 or 14 Tiger Mark rounds, which means that you don't need to spend all of his bad armor for max potential. Well, and then comes his EGOs, which are... I hope I don't need to explain why Regret is good for his 5 coin skill. In addition, it's also a Tremor EGO. Now, Capote is... well, to be honest, I think that some identities were made Burn and Tremor only for this EGO to be viable, and Project Moon made this EGO very viable. What it does is gives 2 of these next turn, inflicts 10 Burn, which is a pretty big number, and then it inflicts Tremor by Burn on target. So if target has 99 burn, which is the easiest status to make 99, it will inflict 99 tremor, which on tremor part requires only to maintain its count, and every tremor burst will deal 99 rust damage if it's tremor scorch. Oh, and it also bursts tremor and spreads burn. Its passive is also pretty good, because it's not rare to be targeted by 2 skills. If you want to make a good burn team with focus on Capo Meursault, this ego is your number 1 priority. If it's not Walpurgisnacht, of course, then just take regret. It's always good. And Crashbound Past is an ego with a lot of words, so just use it if you have it. It's good. It's one of the best WAFs in the game, and it's a perfect fit for him. Now, you probably noticed how I mentioned spending all of his rounds several times. The main focus of it is to make great use of his overheat phase, in which he starts to resemble a tanky berserker. But unfortunately, the strategy has 2 big problems which all come from one source. First of all, to spend 20 ammo, you need a lot of turns. But do you know what Limbus Company values the most? Speed. All that clears the stage in 10 turns and 15 turns, and Railways not giving you special banner if you didn't complete it in under 100 turns. And the second problem is that, aside from Railway, which once again encourages you to be fast, we don't really have long fights. So in most cases, you at maximum will use his 3 attack weight skill 3, and at that point fight will be over or very close to being over. I don't really like that. You can't imagine how many times I tried to make something that requires a long setup, like Amplitude Entanglemented Tremor with 99 potency and some flavors, but enemies just die before I can do it. His phase 3 is worse than phase 2 and maybe phase 1, because he loses too much stuff, but I just want to see how it plays. And not in a solo run, yeah. I like solos, but it looks like Project Moon doesn't, because it breaks the game, and the further we go, the less solo options we'll have. But in general, I think that this is my favorite Burn ID because of how fun he feels, and you really have a lot of options in building a team around him and what ammo spending strategy you will use. Okay, that was 2.5 pages worth of text for one ID. And we left with this genocidal woman that is pretty much the most important burn ID in the game for now. Fortunately, she doesn't have nearly as much text as Capo Salt, but I still think that I'll talk a lot about her and Magic Bullet Ego. The main gimmicks of this identity are Dark Flame and Magic Bullet, from now on MB. Dark Flame has a max stack of 7, it inflicts 1 defense level down per stack, but the most important part is that at the end of the turn it deals pride damage based on target's burn potency for every stack. Meaning that, for example, if target has 2 Dark Flames and 50 burn potency, at the end of the turn he will receive 50 damage from burn itself and 100 pride damage from every stack of Dark Flame. So in simpler terms, Dark Flame multiplies burn, and max damage target can receive at the end of the turn jumps from 99 to 792. I hope now you understand why she is so important in burn teams. So let's see what her kit has to offer. Price of a bullet at 28 max rolling defense skill. She gains 1 magic bullet, which is just a number. It doesn't really do anything by itself, so it's basically charge. Skill power depends on her MB count multiplied by 2, and then she loses SP based on MB count. I don't really use her defense skill that often, but it's a pretty nice way to consistently gain magic bullets, which Outis can struggle with. Ignition is a 2 coin 17 max rolling skill, which inflicts 1 dark flame next turn and burn based on target's current dark flame. Very simple, but remember that 1 dark flame can potentially deal 99 pride damage, so this skill is far from useless, especially with Ego, though other skills are obviously better. Detonate Magic Bullet is a 2 coin 22 max rolling skill, which basically does the same thing as skill 1, but better. Instead of inflicting 1 Dark Flame, she can inflict up to 4, based on her MB count. She also gains 1 MB if she has less than 4 of them. Now, this skill has a major downside. When Outis has 4 MBs or more, this skill doesn't inflict Dark Flame. This obviously sucks, so let's move on to the skill that resets her MB count. Magic Bullet Fire. This is a 1 coin skill that we all know and love, or hate if she targets your own units. Before attack, Outis gains 1 MB, then this skill's attack weight becomes equal to MB count, then she loses up to 30 SP based on her MB count, and if after that she's at 10 or less SP, she has a 50% chance to target her teammates. On hit she inflicts Dark Flame equal to MB next turn, and if she is at 7 MB, its count goes to 0. So this... yeah, that's pretty long. So this can potentially turn into 40 rolling attack weight 7 skill 3 that inflicts 7 Dark Flame. And her passive is basically, if target has 4 Dark Flame, she'll crit with her next coin. It's for skill 3 to deal even more damage. So this ID is very fucking strong, but you'll need a lot of time to ramp up your magic bullet count. Because after skill 2 stops giving you magic bullets, you'll either need to use defense skill, as it will at that point drain a lot of your SP, or wait for 3 skill 3s, and neither of these ways are fast and efficient. So let me introduce you to the most important burn ego in the game, Magic Bullet. Yes, it's named the same, and sadly the amount of times I'll say Magic Bullet will only grow up. Basically, this ego has 7 different attack variants, which are all listed here. I'm not reading all of them, but the bigger the number, the bigger the payoff. Except for the 7th bullet, which can deal a lot of damage, but the downside is that Outis shoots herself and dies. So unless enemy is very low, I would not recommend using it, and just wait for the 3rd skill to reset bullet count. But that's obviously not all what this ego has to offer, this is only the beginning. After attack she gains up to 4 magic bullets based on highest resonance, so it just skyrockets her magic bullet gain, which was her ID's main problem. If the main target is defeated, inflict 4 Dark Flame against all enemies with Burn. And while I think that Burn spreading effects on other IDs are useless most of the times, this is very strong because remember that 1 Dark Flame equals to all targets Burn potency, and then she inflicts Burn and Dark Flame based on MB. Unlike Magic Bullet Identity, who inflicts Dark Flame on the next turn, this ego does it immediately, which is great because it gives you more tools to deal more damage as fast as possible. And its passive, which is also insane. If she's not using Magic Bullet Identity, which why would you do that? She deals up to 2 burn potency each hit based on MB count. But with Magic Bullet Identity, she inflicts burn equal to MB count each hit. So her burn potency application is now a lot better. But we already have a lot of ideas that apply a lot of burn, so if target has 30 plus burn potency, she instead applies Dark Flame. So now first skill can inflict 3 Dark Flame, second can inflict up to 6 Dark Flame, and third one spreads 1 additional Dark Flame on the turn it has been used. Corrosion doesn't really do anything groundbreaking, just inflicts some burn count and spreads 7 Dark Flame instead of 4, which is great, but I prefer Awakening because it's cheaper. Now I want to touch a bit on the cost of this ego. It costs 4 Pride, 2 Wrath and 2 Lust. But Pride is the most important, because while Outis has 3 skills with Pride, not every burn identity can provide it. So if you want to use this ego frequently, which is not required but still better than all of Outis's skills, you'll need some Pride generating burn IDs, which restrains your team building a little bit. But once again you can just use it one time to activate passive and deal 198 damage with skill 1. And that's all. This ID is amazing, and if you want to run a burn team, which you will probably want after Season 7 release, you are better to get this identity and ego from Walpurgisnacht. Unless Project Moon will release an Outis identity that will somehow overpower this. I know they can. And that were all burn IDs and egos in the game for now. But don't leave yet, because I want to discuss burn as a status and what Season 7 can do to it. The reason why I even made this video was partially because of that joke at the start of the video, but the real reason is that, yes, burn is a boring status effect which you don't really interact with, and which can deal only 99 damage per turn. Yes, we have Tremor Scorch and Dark Flame, and they are great, but only 3 identities out of 18 if you don't count Ruin IDs have these statuses. Others just inflict burn, more burn, even more burn, and when an enemy's burn potency becomes 99, all of your burn identities become just deal more than average damage IDs. And mind you, inflicting 99 burn potency to one enemy is a thing that you can achieve at turn like 5. Basic enemies just die too fast, and late game bosses don't even feel that 99 damage because they have 4000 health. Unlike Sinking or Charge, which are not really damaging statuses by themselves, Burn is literally one of the most damaging things imaginable. I hate to compare, but Rupture, Sinking, Bleed and even Tremor is a much more interesting statuses because they interact with what player does. Rupture can just end if you don't maintain your count enough, the same goes with Sinking and Bleed, and Tremor also doesn't really do anything by itself, but we've gotten so much Tremor variants and you can merge them for a big damage turn while also trying to maintain its count. It's just fun. While two statuses that Burn has is just more damage at the end of the turn, and Tremor variant which is good, but it's just worse Tremor reverb. I hope you get my point. Oh yeah, we also have Siren Birdcage, it's okay. Now obviously Project Moon has to introduce some new mechanic in this season that tied to Burn, like in season 4 we've got panic types, in season 5 we've got unbreakable coins, in season 6 we've got all that Hey Show stuff, and in season 7 we must receive something for Burn. I really want for them to follow the theming of fire, slowly building up and becoming more and more dangerous with each second. So in conclusion, I want for season 7 to be the best season so far, because season 6 was not as good as the others. And I hope that Project Moon will make Burn an interesting status effect that will do something after getting to 99 potency. And when Ryoshu's beta end ID will come out, I'll make a follow-up video telling how Burn meta has changed and why it's objectively the best status effect in the game. That's all for today, thanks for watching and Merry Christmas. Or if you're watching it after Christmas, then just goodbye. Amplitude entanglement. Amplitude entanglement. Amplitude entanglement. Amplitude entanglemented. Amplitude entanglement. Amplitude entanglemented Tremor with 99 potency and some amplitude entanglemented